I wonder when you're saying boundaries and learning how to do that in your work, are you working with people to kind of say, well, don't hire that person in the first place? I mean, how do we discover that that's a negative person maybe in the first place before we even bring them on board? Hire right first time.
Yeah, so hiring, it's always that balance. Do we hire for skill or will? You often have heard that terminology. We're really talking about, do we hire for like their CV or their attitude? Uh, and in some roles, you really have to make sure you've got a certain level of competence. But my particular tendency is don't underscore attitude. Really, really important. So you can find ways to get at that in an interview. Even though interviews are great ways for people to kind of fake it till you make it, there are interview tricks that you can do. So I'll give you a great example talking about kind of attitude and humility. I had a
Hmm.
client organization of mine years ago, and they were very technical, but culture and attitude was really important to them. So when they flew in a particular candidate, and when they flew him in, they had a driver meet him at the airport and drove him to the headquarters, and they sat there and met with the receptionist, and they had meetings all day with multiple people. Okay, and then when they were done, the driver took them back to the airport. The actual decision on whether or not to hire this person was made by the driver, because they wanted to know how would this person treat someone when they weren't being watched.
That's powerful, but a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it
Yes.
is, but they already knew the guy was technically sound, but
Right.
this happened to be a male individual, but they really wanted to know what would happen when they weren't kind of being watched and kind of on the spotlight. When they were just day to day, how would they handle that? Consultants often call that, they call that the airport test. Like if I was stuck with this person in an airport, would I find it enjoyable, or would I find it to be a miserable experience?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's it's trying to figure that part out.
That's a good test though, because I mean, you don't necessarily have to hire drivers. Just have a company car and put one of your employees to drive them to the airport and pick them up.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that's not a bad test to look at doing that at all.